Good Times Entertainment, of course, mostly stuck to straight-to-home video cheap cashing cartoons. But do you recall the most costly release of them all?
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows.
I'm still kind of in shock that this ever happened. Good Times' Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the movie, was a theatrical release. Yeah. This was the first and only Good Times cartoon to actually be in theaters. I don't have exact info on why Good Times Entertainment ever tried a theatrical movie, but I'm guessing they made enough dough with their cash-in coaster movies, so in 1998 they got a little ambitious and decided they could make it on the big screen. They could not. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the movie, was a box office bomb, only pulling in a little over $113,000 after their $10 million budget. Ouch. And while I'm about to show you why this movie would have no doubt bombed regardless, it certainly wasn't done any favors when it went to theaters. This Christmas movie had a mid-October release date, which I'm sure attributed quite a bit to its colossal monetary failure. But with this much higher budget, I'm expecting quite the upgrade from the usual Good Times animation.
Guess what about? Guess what about? Guess what about? Guess what about? Rudolph's shiny nose.
It went for getting higher profile names for the voice cast, didn't it? Yep, so for quite the change to the usual Good Times fare, we had some stars thrown into the mix here with John Goodman as Santa, the Bob Newhart Bear, Eric Idle as Wreck-Gar the Fox, Richard Simmons as Boone the Elf. Yes, that Richard Simmons! For some reason. And probably the most funny name to get attached to a Good Times movie, Oscar winner and Theodore Rex star herself, Whoopi Goldberg as Stormella. Whoopi Goldberg's, damn it, IMDb reviews. I really do love the fact that Whoopi Goldberg was in a Good Times movie, though. Also, Blitzen was played by Gary Chalk because, of course, Gary Chalk was in this. He was actually in a good number of Good Times movies. You might actually recall his voice in Good Times Alice in Wonderland, where he played Voice, along with everyone else. Well, if you were one of the 5 people who actually went to go see this, I will admit, I really envy you getting to see the Good Times logo on the big screen. Oh yeah, and Golden Books was a distributor for this. Not Golden Films, Golden Books. And a lot of you probably do remember those books with the golden spine on them. They were a distributor for a handful of things, and besides the one Jackson 5 thing, they were all Christmas related, which includes old Cricket on the Hearth.
Half of pints of smoky chips. Whenever meant to touch my lips.
Now, to be fair, things have definitely been flashed up a bit from the usual, like our fancy text and these stupid Northern Light berries here. But still, we're just flashing up what is essentially the standard Good Times animation with, maybe 17% more awesome.
But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all?
Prancer. Yeah, who can forget that time Santa and Blitzen got blitzed? Sorry. I should have said who can actually remember it, what with all the butt chugging going on.
How about Rudolph.
I want a divorce.
Shit, I knew I shouldn't have listened to stupid drunken Santa.
Did they confuse a reindeer for a mouse?
Come to Papa, Rudolph.
Hey, baby, you got your name 2 seconds ago. You know it now, right? What was worthy of a wah noise there? He took a couple of steps. Goodtimes, you're trying too hard here, and it's clear you just don't really get it. They've seen charming scenes before, and are trying to replicate that, but without any of the actual heart behind it. Some parts of this movie in particular just look way too cheap for a theatrical film, like this completely flat perspective shot of this train going by. That just looks like something a second grader would do with a ruler. Also, there's stuff like these obvious animation loops. It's a pretty good sign that you shouldn't be here when in your first theatrical outing you display yourself cutting corners immediately.
We're the sprites of Northern Lights. I'm Aurora. I'm Sparkle. I'm Glitter. I'm Twinkle.
And they have nothing to do with anything until over 50 minutes in, where their only significant impact on the plot is to say, hey, Rudolph, you know that nose light of yours? You should totally use that. Besides that, the only other thing they offer to the film is these jarring 10 to 15 second songs in between scenes.
This is where we live, Rudy.
Don't call me Rudy.
We call this snow.
Mitzi, he's at it again.
At it again? You just introduced him to the stuff. How can he be at it again?
So, where's the baby buck?
I can't see it under your leg like that. Completely hidden. Blitzen, like any good father, is embarrassed by his freak son. But I suppose Rudolph can count his blessings that he's not Donner's son in this version, and doesn't have to have dirt shoved over his nose to hide his shame.
A chip off the old buck. What? Yikes.
We didn't notice he had a red nose until he turned the light on.
Why, I'll lock antlers with the next buck who makes a crack about my son's nose.
He's beautiful, not odd. And perfect the way he is.
You're absolutely right.
I hate my freak son. He's not a freak. Why, I never thought of it that way. He's the best. Now, let me sing a song about him while I also try to eat the camera.
What about his gleaming nose? Put a cover on it, wear a lampshade upon it. Forgive us for finding Rudy's nose is simply blinding.
Is it a requirement to be an asshole if you work for Santa? We wouldn't want to give this baby any complexes or anything, but let's gather the entire town to sing about what a freak he is. It's okay. Once Rudolph proves that his deformity can benefit them, they'll like him.
Any mail today for S. Claus?
Nope. Oh, wait. Did you mean Santa? You were too stealthy for me. Mailality.
Release the robotic Richard Simmons.
If we play our cards right, we'll be up for a promotion before you know it.
These two elves' promotion plot weighs very heavily on the plot. No, it doesn't. Here's their actual impact, smashing up these ice sculptures because they are shitty drivers. But at least they do the right thing after their mistake.
Maybe we should leave a note.
You numbskull! Then she'll know we're the ones who did it! Let's get out of here!
Oh yeah, I forgot about that asshole requirement to work for Santa for a second. These were the cleverly named Stormella's ice sculptures. Stormella, Ella. She shows up at Santa's with her 3 evil eyebrow wolves and her disgusting penguin butler. Ugh. Dead.
Was it you? No, your royal regalness. Stop, or I'll mega blast you.
So, Stormella kind of has a right to be pissed here, and when Santa won't let her prosecute the other mega elf and Richard Simmons, she quite understandably closes her bridge to them so drunken elves can't just drive in and ruin her shit. So far, the villain has been the most reasonable person in this movie.
Think we'll still get our promotion?
Take it off.
Whoa! This is not the time or place for that, Richard Simmons elf.
Good morning, Mrs. Prancer.
You don't have any actual name of your own.
No, this is man's work.
I was born to be a flyer.
I'm gonna be a flyer too. Me too. So am I.
Not with that nose.
Wait, what about that reindeer with the heart on their forehead? You judgmental assholes missed that one?
There. Now no one can see it.
Lose something, son?
Everyone laughs at me. They call me names and stuff. It hurts, Your Honor.
I love being Bastard Claus.
So listen up, and I'll fill your cup
with piss because I'm drunk.
Now we come across another odd quirk with the sky. It looks like something was overlapping when they animated these parts, leading to these dark lines running down it.
Simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
Yay! We paid for a Paul McCartney song as well, instead of making sure things looked good, because that's the least important part of an animated movie. Everyone will just leave this thing saying, hey, remember that Paul McCartney song they used? What a great movie!
The choir of children sing their song.
What is he conducting? Them bobbing their heads? They actually start singing after a couple of lines, but I guess they're just having too good a time watching this old coot waving around them pointlessly to remember they were supposed to be singing first.
Merry Christmas!
Oh, no! I got him!
Get up!
Yeah!
Oh no! Oh no!
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank my parents for always believing in me.
Well, someone's in denial.
I'd like to thank the doe of my dreams, Zoe. Oh my gosh!
Too wacky, guys. Too wacky. So this doe Zoe starts hitting on Rudolph, which is exceedingly similar to the scene where a doe hits on Rudolph in the Rankin Bass movie. But instead of getting cock-blocked by her fascist father, in this version, it's her boyfriend.
We were just talking, Arrow.
It looked more like kissing to me.
There's no reason to be jealous. We're just friends.
Again, I can't really fault the one that is supposedly the villain here, because Rudolph was about to make out with his girlfriend and Zoe was instigating it. They are the two in the wrong here. Break up with them if you don't like them, Zoe, but don't start hitting on other reindeer before that. Now it's time for reindeer games. Oh, fuck off. You know, the ones that the other reindeer wouldn't let Rudolph join in. But here he's gonna do it anyway. And we see casual Santa who, wow, is about one step away from wearing a beer hat. Don't exactly know why the reindeer need drivers. They are intelligent creatures who can talk in this universe. But we soon see how dirty and seedy the reindeer games are, as there's injuries almost immediately, and we got paramedics on hand because this is apparently how these always go. Rudolph gets the hang of this too when he realizes the true power of his shiny red nose for cheating.
You're disqualified for illegal use of a glowing red nose. You're banned from the rest of the games.
How dare he have to have consequences for his actions? Is there any point where I'm supposed to side with the good guys in this?
The judges rule Arrow, winner by default.
Default? Woohoo! The two sweetest words in the English language. Default, default.
You cheated.
Rudolph's cheating I'm okay with, but yours? You're the scum of the earth, boyfriend, dear.
I don't want to be your dough friend anymore.
Dough friend.
Sorry, the decision is final.
But the nose problem isn't his fault. He was born that way.
I'd like to thank my parents for always believing in me.
One day you'll be proud of me, Pop.
For running away and saving you having to explain my stupid nose anymore, I guess.
I'm out here on my own.
Yeah, that sounds like the same voice.
Ray of sunshine. Zoe.
You seriously thought she was there? You're that far gone? You've only been out here for about 2 minutes, Rudolph.
Might as well sleep here.
This is my cave, you big moose. I found it first.
Ba weep grana weep nitty bun.
Ba weep grana weep mini bong. Well, welcome to the cave, kid. They call me Slyly.
While Eric Idle does this Brooklyn voice fine for the most part, it seems kind of odd to get a named talent like Idle, then have him do something that's not immediately recognizable. His voice was also a late addition so that they could waste even more money on this thing, as Scott McNeil had originally recorded the dialogue for Slyly. You might know him as the original voice of English Piccolo, Rat Trap from Beast Wars, and most unfortunately, Bone Steel from The Next Mutation, which Gary Chalk was in too, by the way.
When things get bad, just remember, it could always be worse. Things could be better, they could always be worse. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it.
So always look on the bright side of death.
Wait, Slyly is sharing this cave with 4 female foxes? Why is he about to leave it to go hang out with Rudolph?
Lighten up, will ya?
Sure, make jokes. I've heard them all. My nose can stop traffic. I have a glowing personality.
You're killing me!
It wasn't that funny.
Look, he left a note.
How did he write that?
Dear Mom and Dad, goodbye forever. Love, Rudolph.
Well, he got to the point quick.
Hi, can I see Rudolph, please?
He ran away.
Now, if you'll excuse us, we're gonna go inside and not look for him.
So, who gave you this?
I don't want to talk about it.
Say no more, kid.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more.
Rudolph's out there, somewhere.
We can't find Zoe anywhere.
I'll send out a search party immediately.
Ah, this wasn't important until Zoe went missing too. Stormella remembers she's in the movie when Zoe crosses her bridge and delights in the fact that she can now carry out her threat of causing a huge storm if they ignored her bridge ban. Which, she could have just done that anyway if she wanted. I guess she's got more integrity than most of the good guys. Though, any wildlife crossing her bridge probably would have been a good enough enough excuse for her.
Zoe, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Stormella knows Zoe's name. Glad she keeps up with things in Christmas Town.
Hey, we should help!
We were just cold and hungry with nowhere to go.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so in the first place? I am Leonard.
But, you can call me Bear Newhart. I'm here to, also be a completely superfluous character.
Bear Newhart was also a late addition and originally Scott McNeil's second character, but he went from 2 to none because people from all around the world were gonna marvel at Bob Newhart's portrayal of a bear.
This must be the way in.
Wow.
Well, this is as far as I go, Red. I still say trying to save your friend is a lost cause.
I'll show up to save you later because I'm that slightly selfish character who learns the true meaning of blah blah blah, etc.
Oh well, at least Rudolph can now shoot a frickin' laser beam with his nose.
Somebody's crossing my bridge.
Wasn't I supposed to do something in retaliation for them still using my bridge already?
I'm never getting out of here.
I'm here to save you, Zoe.
Oh, Rudolph!
And they just immediately get captured. Then Stormella decides she obviously needs to be a blonde-haired grimace to sing her I Love Being Evil song. I still haven't quite figured that one out. But her song does allow them to reuse footage that just happened of Zoe's capture. Yay. Too bad the money couldn't have gone to more important things, Bear Newhart.
I hate Santa Claus. You ask me, an extraordinary.
My butt's on fire!
So Stormella now reveals that she hates Santa, despite her allowing everyone from his town to use her bridge before this. And the reason she hates him is, one time she made him slip on his skateboard? I don't know. It's probably he's good, supposedly, and she's bad. Whatever.
Remember, my little doe-eyed doe, you made the storm possible. Work that out in therapy.
Oh, Rudolph, I've ruined everything.
Yeah, that's about the size of it.
This storm came out of nowhere, Chief.
Stormella.
Storms never happen in nature. They're all Stormella's fault. I'm beginning to understand why she hates him.
Surprise! I showed up to save you! What a total character arc or something!
What are you doing?
Stealing the key to the dungeon. Now go back to sleep.
Oh, alright.
Sweet, you finally had a funny exchange. It only took over an hour.
Wait a second! My hair just turned brown!
And what are you gonna do about it? Whoa!
No, of course he saves her.
He saved your life. Now you owe him a wish.
Is that a thing with ice witches?
I want you to be nice.
What kind of wish is that? You heard me right. Make me nice. Ooh, cute little penguin.
She still remembers who she was. Why is she acting like she's never seen her stupid penguin butler before?
Okay, now call off the storm.
Well, if only I could. Once I unleash the storm, it's got to run its natural course. I'm afraid it's out of my hands.
Way to go, dipshit, the red-nosed fuck-up. You coulda wished for the storm to be over, but you had to force someone to change their personality just because you didn't like the person they were. Clearly, your ordeals with your red nose taught you nothing.
I've never seen a storm like this. I have no choice but to cancel the Christmas Eve launch.
But then Santa sees Rudolph's red shining nose and gets an idea.
Headlights! Could have put these on years ago. Don't need Rudolph.
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
With honor, Your Honor.
When did Santa become a judge?
He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake.
Yeah, what a judgmental asshole.
We can make it if we try.
Oh, shucks.
Honey, wake up. You won't believe the dream I just had.
Well, Good Times Entertainment certainly proved why they belonged in the home video market with their only theatrical outing. The mid-October release date sucked, no doubt, but they did nothing besides try and shovel on some superficial things like celebrity voices and a Paul McCartney song to try and make it a success. And the whole thing comes off a bit disingenuous, really. All of their original songs are extremely forgettable, and about half the characters they introduce have little to no impact on the story. I'm still trying to figure out why they even met Bear Newhart or why those stupid Northern Light sprites are alive. And I know this is a Christmas movie based on a story where a bunch of mocking dickheads changed their tune once they realized that a light in the dark could actually be useful, but there is no sense of anything even remotely dangerous in this plot. Everything just seemed overly easily dealt with. There were more intense plots and freaking Rainbow Bright than this. I really don't know if it was ever in Good Times Entertainment to actually create something suitable for theaters, but when given a pretty sizey budget, they blew it on things that were just fluff instead of actual substance. And wow, how about that? I actually got through an entire Good Times review without bringing up Merry everyone! Yep.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose.
Make me nice.
Whoopi Iceberg and her frozen dildo are completely useless now.